In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, countless stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Amidst this cosmic tapestry, spaceships of all shapes and sizes zipped between worlds, carrying goods, information, and beings from every corner of the galaxy. This was the age of the Great Galactic Alliance, a time when hundreds of alien races had joined hands in the spirit of exploration and mutual benefit. Yet, in this grand cosmic dance, one species stood out from the rest: humans. Earth, once a backwater planet on the edge of an unfashionable spiral arm, had become the go-to place for one very specific and crucial service: spaceship repairs. Human-run repair stations dotted the galaxy, beacons of hope for damaged vessels and their worried crews. On a particularly busy day at Repair Station Alpha 9, located in a bustling sector near the galactic core, Chief Engineer Maria Rodriguez wiped the sweat from her brow. She gazed out of the station's panoramic window, watching as a massive Zorn battlecruiser limped towards one of the docking bays. Another day, another challenge, Maria muttered to herself, a small smile playing on her lips. Her assistant, a young engineer named Raj, rushed up to her, datapad in hand. "Chief, the Zorn ship's reporting major hull breaches and engine failure. They're barely holding together." Maria nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "Alert all teams. We've got a big one coming in." As alarms blared throughout the station, repair crews scrambled to their positions. The massive doors of Docking Bay 7 yawned open, ready to receive the wounded vessel. Outside, in the inky blackness of space, the Zorn battlecruiser drew closer. Its once proud hull was scared and torn, great gashes revealing the ship's inner workings. Sparks flew from damaged systems, and one of its massive engines sputtered weakly, barely providing any thrust. Inside the ship, Captain Zextor of the Zorn Imperial Fleet gripped his command chair tightly. His leathery skin had turned a pale shade of green, the Zorn equivalent of a worried frown. "Helmsman," he growled, "are you certain about this? Human repair station?" The helmsman, a younger Zorn with bright, eager eyes, nodded vigorously. "Yes, Captain. All data points to the humans being the best ship repairers in the galaxy. Their skills are legendary." Zextor grunted, unconvinced. In his long years of service, he had learned to be wary of legends and tall tales. But right now, beggars couldn't be choosers. His ship, the pride of the Zorn fleet, was barely holding together after a surprise attack by space pirates. As the battlecruiser entered the docking bay, a swarm of small repair pods surrounded it. Tractor beams gently guided the massive ship into place, securing it firmly. Maria and her team watched from the control room, their eyes wide at the extent of the damage. "This is going to be a tough one, folks," Maria announced, her voice filled with determination. "But remember, there's no ship we can't fix, no problem we can't solve. Let's show these Zorn why the galaxy trusts human repair stations." A cheer went up from the assembled engineers and technicians. They had faced seemingly impossible tasks before and had always come through. This would be no different. As the docking procedure completed, Maria led a team towards the airlock. It was time to meet their new clients and assess the damage up close. The airlock hissed open, revealing Captain Zextor and his senior officers. The Zorn towered over the humans, their reptilian features set in expressions of worry and doubt. Maria stepped forward, extending her hand in the universal gesture of greeting. "Welcome to Repair Station Alpha 9, Captain. I'm Chief Engineer Maria Rodriguez. We're here to help." Zextor stared at the small human female before him, his compound eyes blinking rapidly. Could these tiny, soft-skinned creatures really save his mighty warship? As he reached out to shake Maria's hand, he couldn't help but wonder if he had made a terrible mistake. Little did he know, this encounter would change not just his fate, but the course of galactic history itself. Captain Zextor's massive clawed hand engulfed Maria's as they shook. The Zorn's scales glistened under the bright lights of the docking bay, his compound eyes darting nervously between the humans and his damaged ship. "Your reputation precedes you, Chief Engineer," Zextor rumbled, his translator struggling to convey the mix of hope and skepticism in his voice. "But I must warn you, the damage to the Zornthak is extensive." Maria nodded, her expression serious but confident. "We understand, Captain. Why don't you show us the worst of it?" As they walked through the battered corridors of the Zornthak, Raj tapped furiously on his datapad, recording every detail. The ship's interior was a maze of twisted metal and sparking wires. Emergency force fields flickered weakly, barely containing the vacuum of space in some sections. "By the stars," Raj whispered, his eyes wide. "How did you even make it here?" A Zorn engineer, her scales of vibrant blue, answered proudly. "Zorn ships are built to withstand the harshest conditions, but even we have our limits." Maria ran her hand along a warped bulkhead, her mind already formulating repair strategies. "What happened out there, Captain?" she asked, her voice echoing in the damaged hallway. Zextor's eyes narrowed, a low growl rumbling in his throat. "Pirates. They ambushed us near the Vorlex Nebula. We fought them off, but at great cost." As they reached the engine room, the true extent of the damage became clear. One of the massive antimatter reactors had been completely destroyed, while the other two sputtered and wheezed like dying beasts. Maria's team spread out, scanning and assessing every inch of the colossal chamber. The Zorn crew watched anxiously, their tails twitching with nervous energy. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the room. A support beam, weakened by the battle, gave way. Debris rained down, heading straight for a group of Zorn engineers. Without hesitation, Maria sprinted forward. She activated her personal shield generator, a standard issue for all human repair technicians. The energy field expanded, covering not just her but the Zorn in harm's way. Metal and plasteel bounced off the shield harmlessly. When the dust settled, Maria stood there, surrounded by amazed Zorn. "Is everyone all right?" she asked, deactivating her shield. Captain Zextor strode over, his expression a mix of gratitude and newfound respect. You saved my crew without a second thought." Maria shrugged, a small smile on her face. "It's all part of the job, Captain. Now, let's see about fixing this engine, shall we?" As the human team got to work, the Zorn watched in awe. Maria and Raj moved with practiced efficiency, their tools extensions of their own bodies. They navigated the alien technology with ease, identifying problems and proposing solutions faster than the Zorn could follow. "How is this possible?" one of the Zorn engineers asked, his voice filled with wonder. "You've never even seen a Zorn ship before today." Raj grinned as he recalibrated a power coupling. "That's the beauty of human engineering philosophy. We don't just learn specific systems, we understand the principles behind them. Once you get that, adapting to new tech is easy." Hours passed like minutes. The engine room buzzed with activity as humans and Zorn worked side by side. Slowly but surely, systems began to come back online. The dying wheeze of the engines transformed into a steady hum. As the day cycle of the station drew to a close, Maria gathered her team for a status report. The news was mixed. While they had stabilized the ship's critical systems, the damage was far more extensive than initially thought. "Captain," Maria said, turning to Zextor, "I won't sugarcoat it. We got a long road ahead. This repair job will take weeks, maybe even months." The Zorn captain's scales shifted color, a sign of deep concern. "Weeks, months. The Zornthak is needed on the front lines. The Empire cannot spare us for so long." Maria held up a hand, her expression determined. "I understand your concern, Captain. But rushing this job could lead to catastrophic failure later. We need to do this right." Zextor looked around the engine room, at the progress already made and the challenges still ahead. He saw the dedication in the eyes of both the human and Zorn crews, working together despite their differences. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, Chief Engineer. We place our trust in you and your team. The Zorn Thak is in your hands." As the Zorn crew retired to their quarters and the human team prepared for the next shift, Maria stood alone in the docking bay, gazing at the enormous battlecruiser. The real work was just beginning, but she felt a surge of excitement. This was why she had become an engineer. This challenge, this opportunity to push the boundaries of what was possible. And maybe, just maybe, to bring two very different species a little closer together in the process. With a smile, Maria turned and headed back into the station. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she and her team would be ready. After all, this was Repair Station Alpha 9, where the impossible became possible every day. As the artificial dawn broke over Repair Station Alpha 9, Maria Rodriguez stood in the bustling control room, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of the Zorn battlecruiser. The damage reports scrolled endlessly, each one more daunting than the last. "Chief," Raj said, his voice tinged with worry, "I've never seen anything like this. The Zorn Thak's quantum flux regulator is completely fried. Without it, the ship's faster-than-light drive is useless." Maria nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "And let me guess, we don't have a spare lying around." "Worse," Raj replied. "The technology is completely alien to us. Zorn FTL systems operate on principles we've never encountered before." A hush fell over the control room as the human technicians exchanged worried glances. The repair of a quantum flux regulator was challenging enough with familiar technology, but an alien system, it seemed impossible. Just then, Captain Zextor entered, his massive frame filling the doorway. "I couldn't help but overhear," he rumbled. "Is there a problem?" Maria took a deep breath. Honesty was always the best policy, especially when dealing with alien clients. "Captain, we've hit a significant snag. Your ship's FTL drive is unlike anything we've ever seen. Repairing it will be challenging." Zextor's scales darkened, a sign of deep concern. "Without our FTL capabilities, the Zorn Thak is little more than a floating target. Surely your legendary human ingenuity can find a solution." The pressure in the room was palpable. Every eye was on Maria, waiting for her response. This was the moment that would make or break the reputation of human repair stations. Maria squared her shoulders. "Captain, I won't lie to you. This is going to be the toughest job we've ever tackled. But I promise you this, we won't rest until we've found a way to get your ship back in fighting shape." She turned to her team. "All right, people, we're going to approach this from every angle. Raj, I want you to lead a team in studying the Zorn FTL principles. Work with their engineers, learn everything you can." Raj nodded, already pulling up data on his pad. "Lisa," Maria continued, addressing a tough-looking woman with cybernetic enhancements, "you're our best reverse engineer. Take a team and start dissecting that quantum flux regulator. If we can't repair it, we'll build a new one from scratch." Lisa cracked her knuckles, a grin spreading across her face. "Now that's my kind of challenge, Chief. The rest of you, focus on the other repairs. Just because we're stuck on the FTL drive doesn't mean we can neglect the rest of the ship." As the team dispersed to their tasks, Captain Zextor approached Maria. "Your confidence is admirable, Chief Engineer. But I must ask, what if you can't do it? What if the challenge is truly beyond even human capabilities?" Maria met the alien captain's gaze steadily. "Then we'll have learned something new, Captain. And next time, we'll be that much closer to solving it. That's the human way. We never stop learning, never stop trying." Zextor's compound eyes blinked rapidly, processing this strange human philosophy. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. We shall see if your species' reputation is deserved." As the days turned into weeks, the repair station became a hive of activity. Human and Zorn worked side by side, exchanging knowledge and pushing the boundaries of their understanding. Raj and his team pored over Zorn technical manuals, their minds expanding to grasp alien concepts of physics and engineering. In the makeshift laboratory, Lisa and her crew reverse-engineered the damaged regulator, their worktables a chaotic mess of alien and human tools. Maria split her time between overseeing the repairs and studying the problem herself. She slept little, her mind constantly churning with possible solutions. The Zorn crew, initially skeptical, found themselves impressed by the humans' dedication and ingenuity. They watched in amazement as the humans tackled problems that would have stumped even the most experienced Zorn engineers. But as the weeks wore on, tensions began to rise. Despite their best efforts, a solution to the FTL drive problem remained elusive. The rest of the ship was nearly repaired, but without faster-than-light capabilities, it was all for naught. One particularly frustrating day, as another attempted repair failed, a young Zorn engineer lost his temper. "This is hopeless," he snarled, his tail lashing angrily. "We're wasting our time with these humans. We should have gone to a proper Zorn repair facility." The outburst hung in the air, a challenge to everything the human repair team stood for. All eyes turned to Maria, waiting to see how she would respond to this direct attack on their abilities. Maria stood silent for a moment, her eyes closed in thought. When she opened them, there was a new fire burning in their depths. "You're right," she said quietly, much to everyone's surprise. "What we're doing isn't working." She paused, looking around at the mixed team of humans and Zorn. "So we're going to try something that's never been done before, something that might just be crazy enough to work." As she began to outline her plan, eyes widened and jaws dropped. It was audacious, potentially dangerous, and completely unprecedented. It was, in short, exactly the kind of solution that had made human repair stations famous across the galaxy. The repair bay fell silent as Maria outlined her audacious plan. Even the most experienced engineers, both human and Zorn, listened with a mixture of awe and disbelief. "You want to do what?" Captain Zexter finally asked, his scales shifting to a pale green of shock. Maria took a deep breath. "We're going to create a hybrid FTL drive. We'll combine Zorn technology with human innovation to build something entirely new." Rad's eyes widened. "Chief, that's never been done before." "The risks are high," Maria finished for him. "I know, but it's our best shot." She turned to the holographic display, manipulating it to show a 3D model of her proposed design. "We'll use the basic structure of the Zorn quantum flux regulator, but we'll augment it with a human-designed tachyon pulse generator." Lisa, the cybernetically enhanced engineer, leaned in for a closer look. "Interesting. The tachyon pulses could stabilize the quantum field, allowing for smoother transitions between normal and FTL space." "Exactly," Maria nodded. "But here's the tricky part. We need to synchronize the two systems perfectly. 1 microsecond out of alignment, and boom!" A Zorn engineer finished grimly. Captain Zextor's compound eyes blinked rapidly. "This plan, it's either brilliance or madness, perhaps both." Maria met his gaze steadily. "Sometimes, Captain, that's where the best solutions come from." For a long moment, the Zorn captain was silent, weighing the risks against the potential reward. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, Chief Engineer. You have my permission to proceed. May the stars guide your hands." With the captain's approval, the repair bay erupted into a flurry of activity. Human and Zorn engineers worked side by side, their previous tensions forgotten in the excitement of this unprecedented project. Raj led a team in reprogramming the Zorn FTL computer systems to accommodate the new hybrid design. His fingers flew over holographic keyboards, lines of alien code scrolling past at dizzying speeds. In another corner, Lisa and her team worked on constructing the tachyon pulse generator. Sparks flew as they welded exotic alloys, the air humming with the energy of cutting-edge technology. Maria moved between the teams, coordinating efforts and solving problems as they arose. Her mind raced with calculations and contingencies, always 3 steps ahead. As days turned into weeks, the hybrid drive slowly took shape. It was a bizarre-looking contraption, a mix of sleek Zorn technology and rugged human engineering. But as they ran simulation after simulation, the results were promising. Finally, after a month of non-stop work, it was time for the real test. The entire station held its breath as Maria and her team prepared to install the hybrid drive into the Zornthak. Captain Zextor stood at attention, his crew behind him, all eyes fixed on the humans. "All right, people," Maria said, her voice steady despite the tension. "This is what we've been working towards. Let's make history." With painstaking care, they maneuvered the hybrid drive into place. Connections were made, systems were aligned, and power was routed through new pathways. As the final connection was secured, a low hum filled the air. Lights flickered across control panels, and holographic displays sprang to life. "Power levels stable," Raj reported, his eyes glued to his monitors. "Quantum field integrity at 98% and holding." "Tachyon pulse generator online," Lisa added. "Synchronization at optimal levels." Maria took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. "Initiate startup sequence." For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like a thunderclap, the hybrid drive roared to life. The entire ship vibrated with barely contained energy. "It's working," Raj shouted, his face split by a wide grin. "The quantum flux is stable, and the tachyon pulses are keeping everything in perfect harmony." A cheer went up from the human crew, quickly joined by the Zorn. Captain Zextor's scales rippled with colors of amazement and joy. "Chief Engineer," he said, turning to Maria, "you and your team have accomplished the impossible. The Zorn Empire owes you a great debt." Maria smiled, fatigue and relief evident on her face. "Thank you, Captain. But we're not done yet. We still need to test it in actual FTL conditions." Zextor nodded. "Indeed, and I wouldn't trust anyone else to oversee that test." He paused, then added, "In fact, I'd like to formally request that you and your key team members accompany us on the Zornthak's test flight." A hush fell over the bay. This was unprecedented. Humans invited aboard a Zorn warship, not as prisoners, but as honored guests. Maria looked at her team, saw the excitement in their eyes, and knew there was only one answer she could give. "Captain," she said, extending her hand, "we'd be honored." As Human and Zorn shook hands, a new chapter in galactic history began. The impossible had been made possible, and the legend of human repair expertise grew even greater. But for Maria and her team, the greatest adventure was yet to come. The Zornthak hummed with energy as it prepared to leave the repair station. On the bridge, Captain Zextor sat in his command chair, his posture rigid with anticipation. Beside him stood Maria, Raj, and Lisa, their eyes wide as they took in the alien technology surrounding them. "All systems check out, Captain," a Zorn officer reported. "We are ready for departure." Zextor nodded. "Very well. Disengage docking clamps and set course for the Vorlex Nebula. Let's see what this hybrid drive can do." As the massive battlecruiser pulled away from the station, Maria felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was the true test of their work. Approaching optimal jump distance, the navigation officer announced, "Preparing for FTL transition in 3, 2, 1. The ship shuddered as the hybrid drive engaged. Stars on the view screen began to stretch into lines of light. Then, with a flash, the Zornthak leaped into FTL speed. For a moment, everyone held their breath. Then Raj, monitoring the drive's output, broke into a wide grin. "It's working perfectly. We're maintaining stable FTL speed with 30% less energy consumption than the original drive." A cheer went up from both the human and Zorn crew members. Captain Zextor's scales rippled with colors of joy and pride. "Remarkable," he said, turning to Maria. "Your team has truly outdone themselves, Chief Engineer." Maria smiled, but her eyes remained focused on the readouts. "Thank you, Captain. But let's not celebrate too early. We still need to test the drive under various conditions." Over the next few hours, the Zornthak put the hybrid drive through its paces, They tested rapid accelerations, emergency stops, and complex maneuvers. Each time, the drive performed flawlessly. As they approached the Vorlex Nebula, a vast cloud of swirling gases and newborn stars, Maria felt a sense of accomplishment. They had done it. They had successfully merged two alien technologies and created something new and better. But her satisfaction was short-lived. Alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. "Captain," the tactical officer shouted, "multiple ships decloaking off our port bow. It's the pirates." The view screen filled with the image of a dozen menacing ships, their weapons primed and ready. "It's an ambush," Zextor growled. "They must have been waiting for us to return." Maria's mind raced. The Zornthak was in no condition for a prolonged battle. Despite their repairs, many systems were still not at full capacity. "Captain," she said urgently, "the hybrid drive. It's not just faster and more efficient, it's also more maneuverable. We might be able to use that to our advantage." Zextor's compound eyes fixed on her. "What do you propose, Chief Engineer?" Maria quickly outlined her plan. It was risky, pushing the new drive beyond its tested limits, but it was their best chance. "Do it," Zextor ordered. What followed was a display of piloting and engineering prowess that would be talked about for years to come. The Zornthak danced through space, its hybrid drive allowing it to make turns and accelerations that should have been impossible for a ship of its size. Maria and her team worked feverishly, rerouting power and making split-second adjustments to keep the drive stable under the extreme stress. Pirate ships, unable to match the Zornthak's incredible maneuverability, found themselves out of position. Some collided with each other, while others fell victim to the battlecruiser's superior firepower. In the midst of the chaos, Raj noticed something on his console. "Chief, the tachyon pulses from our drive. They're interfering with the pirates' cloaking devices." Maria's eyes lit up. "Can you amplify the effect?" Raj nodded, his fingers flying over the controls. Suddenly, 3 more pirate ships shimmered into view, their cloaks disrupted by the hybrid drive's unique energy signature. All ships targeted, the weapons officer reported with grim satisfaction. Captain Zextor's voice rang out. "Fire at will." The Zornthak's weapons blazed, striking the exposed pirate ships. One by one, the enemy vessels were disabled or destroyed. As the last pirate ship fled, a stunned silence fell over the bridge. Then, slowly, it was replaced by cheers and congratulations. Captain Zextor rose from his chair, his scales shimmering with colors of respect and gratitude. "Chief Engineer Maria," he said formally, "you and your team have not only repaired our ship, but have given us capabilities we never dreamed possible. You turned certain defeat into a decisive victory." Maria, exhausted but elated, smiled. "Thank you, Captain. But this victory belongs to all of us, human ingenuity and Zorn technology, working together." As the Zornthak set a course back to the repair station, news of their incredible victory spread across subspace channels. The legend of human repair expertise had reached new heights. But for Maria, Raj, and Lisa, standing on the bridge of an alien warship they had helped transform, this was more than just a professional triumph. It was proof that when different species worked together, combining their knowledge and skills, they could achieve the impossible. The galaxy, it seemed, would never be the same again. The return journey to Repair Station Alpha 9 was filled with excitement and anticipation. Word of the Zornthak's incredible victory over the pirate fleet had spread faster than light across the galaxy. By the time the battlecruiser docked, a crowd of curious onlookers from various species had gathered to witness its arrival. As the airlock hissed open, Maria, Raj, and Lisa stepped out alongside Captain Zextor and his senior officers. They were greeted by thunderous applause from the assembled crowd. Station Director Ilara Chen pushed through the throng, her face beaming with pride. "Welcome back, team," she called out. "We've been hearing some incredible stories. Is it true you took on a whole pirate fleet?" Maria nodded, a tired but satisfied smile on her face. "It's true, Director, but we couldn't have done it without the Zorn crew's exceptional skills." Captain Zextor's scales rippled with colors of modesty and respect. "The victory belongs to all of us, human and Zorn alike. This collaboration has opened our eyes to new possibilities." As the crowd dispersed and the excitement settled, the real work began. Over the next few days, Maria and her team worked tirelessly to document every aspect of the hybrid drive's performance. They analyzed data, wrote reports, and prepared presentations for both the station's archives and the Zorn Empire. Meanwhile, news of their achievements spread across the galaxy. Repair Station Alpha 9's communication channels were flooded with messages from various alien fleets, all eager to learn more about the revolutionary hybrid technology. One evening, as Maria was reviewing the final reports in her office, there was a knock at the door. It was Captain Zextor, accompanied by a regal-looking Zorn she didn't recognize. "Chief Engineer," Zextor said formally, "may I present High Admiral Kvex of the Zorn Imperial Fleet?" Maria stood quickly, offering a respectful bow. "It's an honor, High Admiral." The High Admiral's scales shimmered with colors of curiosity and admiration. "The honor is mine, Chief Engineer Maria. Your achievements have not gone unnoticed by the Zorn Empire." He produced an ornate scroll, unfurling it with a flourish. "By decree of the Zorn Emperor himself, you and your team are hereby granted the title of Honorary Zorn Engineers, the first non-Zorn in our history to receive this distinction." Maria's eyes widened in surprise. "Thank you, High Admiral. We're deeply honored." "There's more," Kvex continued. "The Emperor has also approved a joint research initiative between the Zorn Empire and human engineers. We believe this collaboration could revolutionize space travel for all species." As the implications of this announcement sank in, Director Chen burst into the office, her face flushed with excitement. "Maria, you won't believe the calls I've been getting. The Arcturian Confederation, the Rigelian Alliance, even the notoriously isolationist Xerxes Collective. They're all requesting our help with upgrading their fleets." Maria felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. What had started as a challenging repair job had turned into a galactic revolution in engineering. Captain Zextor placed a reassuring claw on her shoulder. "Your expertise has done more than just repair ships, Chief Engineer. You've built bridges between species, opened new avenues of cooperation. The galaxy will never be the same." As Maria looked around at the faces of her human colleagues and their new Zorn allies, she felt a surge of pride and hope. They had faced an impossible challenge and emerged victorious, not through force, but through innovation, collaboration, and mutual respect. In that moment, she realized that the true power of human repair expertise lay not just in fixing machines, but in bringing people and aliens together. The next day, as Maria stood before a panel of reporters from across the galaxy, she took a deep breath and began to speak. "What we've achieved here is just the beginning," she said, her voice firm with conviction. "The hybrid drive is more than just a new technology. It's a symbol of what we can accomplish when we work together across species and cultures." She gestured to the diverse group of engineers, human and alien, standing behind her. "This is the future, a galaxy where we pool our knowledge, share our skills, and face challenges as one united force." As cheers erupted from the audience, Maria caught sight of Raj and Lisa, grinning widely. They had come so far from that first daunting day when the damaged Zornthak had limped into their repair bay. She thought of all the ships out there, waiting to be fixed, improved, transformed. Of all the alien races they had yet to meet, the technologies they had yet to discover. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers. But with human ingenuity and interstellar cooperation, there was no challenge they couldn't overcome. As Maria fielded questions from the excited reporters, one thing became crystal clear. The legend of human repair expertise had only just begun its journey across the stars. 5 years had passed since the fateful day when the damaged Zornthak limped into Repair Station Alpha 9. The galaxy had changed in ways few could have imagined. Maria Rodriguez, now Admiral of the newly formed Intergalactic Engineering Corps, stood at the observation deck of the massive space station Unity. This colossal structure, floating at the intersection of major trade routes, was a testament to the new era of cooperation between species. She watched as ships of all shapes and sizes docked at the station's numerous bays. Vessels that would have once been mortal enemies now floated side by side, their crews mingling in the station's bustling corridors. "Quite a view, isn't it?" a familiar voice rumbled behind her. Maria turned to see Captain Zextor, his scales shimmering with the colors of contentment and pride. The Zorn officer had become one of her closest friends and allies over the years. "It never gets old," Maria agreed, smiling. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come." Zextor nodded. "From repairing a single ship to reshaping the galaxy, your human ingenuity never ceases to amaze me." They were interrupted by Raj, now Chief of Research and Development, rushing towards them with excitement in his eyes. "Admiral, Captain, you need to see this." They followed Raj to the main engineering lab, where Lisa, head of the Xenotechnology Integration Department, was waiting with a holographic display. "We've done it," Lisa announced, her cybernetic eye glowing with enthusiasm. "The new OmniDrive is ready for testing." The hologram showed a sleek, compact engine that seemed to shimmer with possibility. It was the culmination of 5 years of collaborative work between dozens of species, combining the best of each race's technology. With this, Raj explained, any ship, regardless of its origin, can be easily upgraded to have FTL capabilities beyond anything we've seen before. It's efficient, adaptable, and most importantly, it's designed to be easily repaired and maintained by engineers from any species. Maria felt a surge of pride. This was the realization of the dream that had started in that repair bay 5 years ago. "Excellent work, both of you," she said. "When can we begin implementation?" "That's the best part," Lisa grinned. "We've already got orders from over 50 different fleet admirals. Everyone from the Zorn Empire to the Xerxes Collective wants this technology." Just then, an alert sounded. Director Chen's voice came over the intercom. "Admiral Rodriguez, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting your presence for an emergency session." Mariette exchanged worried glances with her team. Emergency sessions of the Council were rare and usually meant trouble. Hours later, Maria stood before the assembled representatives of every major galactic power. The Council chamber buzzed with tension and anticipation. The Council President, a wise old Arcturian, raised his tentacles for silence. "Esteemed colleagues," he began, "we face a grave threat. Our long-range sensors have detected a massive fleet approaching from outside our galaxy. Their technology is unlike anything we've ever encountered, and their intentions are unknown." Murmurs of fear rippled through the chamber. Maria felt the weight of countless lives settling on her shoulders. However, the President continued, "We are not defenseless. Thanks to the groundbreaking work of Admiral Rodriguez and the Intergalactic Engineering Corps, we have a secret weapon." He gestured towards Maria. "Admiral, please share your proposal with the Council." Maria took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Distinguished representatives," she began, her voice steady and confident. "The approaching fleet may have advanced technology, but so do we. With the new OmniDrive and our combined expertise, we can upgrade our defenses faster than they can approach." She outlined her plan, a daring strategy that would require unprecedented cooperation between all galactic races. As she spoke, she saw fear in the Council members' eyes replaced by hope and determination. "We started this journey by fixing one ship," Maria concluded. "Now we have the chance to secure the future of our entire galaxy, not through weapons or war, but through innovation, cooperation, and the unbreakable bonds we've forged between our peoples." The Council chamber erupted in applause and cheers of support. As Maria looked out at the sea of alien faces, all united in purpose, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Back on Unity Station, Maria rejoined her team. Raj, Lisa, and Zextor waited anxiously for news. "Well?" Zextor asked, his scales flickering with concern. Maria smiled, her eyes shining with determination. "Looks like we've got work to do," she said. "The greatest repair job in galactic history awaits us." As they rushed off to begin preparations, Maria felt a sense of excitement and purpose. The legend of human repair expertise had grown beyond anything she could have imagined. But the true legend, she realized, was not about humans alone. It was about what all species could achieve when they worked together. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain: the galaxy would face it united, with the spirit of innovation and cooperation that had started in a humble repair bay leading the way. The greatest adventure, it seemed, was just beginning.